Thank you, Mr. President. So I've been married for 22 years now, and something that has always amused me since taking my husband's last name is that upon meeting me, some assume that I am Jewish, as Halpern is a common Jewish last name. And while I am not Jewish, I am proud of the Jewish heritage that is reflected in my name from my husband's paternal side. I grew up in New York and New Jersey as Sonia McLaughlin and was lucky to be raised by incredible parents who both attended HBCUs. Growing up and into my adulthood, I was also lucky to live in communities where there was a plethora of diversity. And while many of my friends have backgrounds similar to mine, I've always had close friendships with those who came from different backgrounds, including my Jewish peers, particularly with Jewish women. Women who have been my confidants, women who I trust, women who have shown up for me. I share this because today we are here to talk about issues that affect the Jewish community and people who I care about. And so before I speak about HB30, I want to make some acknowledgments. There's a popular quote, I believe the author is unknown, that reads, "Surround yourself with people who fight for you in rooms you're not in." And so as we discuss HB30 in this room, it is important to me to acknowledge that there is not a senator who is Jewish in this chamber, at least not for now. I've had many conversations with Jewish constituents, neighbors, and friends since October 7th, and I have been dismayed at the rise in anti-Semitic rhetoric, threats, imagery, and hate crimes that have taken place in our state and in our country. I have never, ever seen this level of anti-Semitism in my life. And so when I speak to Jewish men and women in Georgia, I acknowledge their pain, their fear, their grief, and their feelings of aloneness. The Jewish women in my life have confided in me that they have been made to feel othered and isolated at a time when they are deserving of support. So, Mr. President and Senate colleagues, I am here to offer my endorsement of HB30 that adopts the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism so that public officials can recognize anti-Semitism and better define it. Jewish Americans, who make up about 2% of the population, endure approximately 60% of all religiously motivated hate crimes, per the FBI. Anti-Semitism has increased every year, and in 2022, anti-Semitic incidents increased by 63% in Georgia. Following the October Hamas terrorist attack on Israel, anti-Semitism has surged nearly 350% in this country. These statistics are horrific. The IRA definition of anti-Semitism has broad consensus and is supported by the majority of mainstream Jewish organizations, including the Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta and American Jewish Committee. Not to mention that this definition has already been adopted by 31 states and counting. It is time for Georgia to pass HB30. Surround yourself with people who fight for you in rooms you're not in. You know, as a woman and as a woman of color, that quote resonates with me. Depending on the room and the circumstance, I have been lucky that people have fought for me. But I also know what it feels like when people haven't. And one of the most painful feelings is when you come to realize that people who you thought would show up for you didn't. Too many of us understand that hurt. So while there is no Jewish member of this chamber at this important moment, I want the Jewish community to know that you are not alone. And in this room, you can always count on me to fight for Jewish Georgians. My colleagues, won't you join me by voting yes on HB30? Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.